Hey guys, Hisoka here, back here with another video, and this time this video is very special. I'm doing a versus battle, a Nen battle to the death between Hisoka Moro and Bisky Kruger. Who would come out on top? Well, I've got some thoughts and I'm going to lay out the formats. But before I get into that, a big shout out to Page Max. He actually suggested this video concept in the comments down below. And as you know guys, if you wanted me to do something, put in the comments and I'll do it. As you can see, I've censored a bit of what he said, and that's because I'm splitting this video into two parts, for the anime-only viewers and for people caught up with the manga. Now, Hisoka in the manga has changed a bit. I'm not going to say how, but it changes the power scaling, so I'm going to tell you guys when it's time to go off the video. And then for us, the people that are caught up to the manga, I'll then do some concluding thoughts and I'll expand on the prior analysis. So now that we have that established, the key categories I'll be covering is, I'll be calling Bisky and her little girl form, I'll be calling that base form, and I'll be calling muscular Bisky adult form, just for simplification. So I'll be covering base form Bisky against Hisoka, adult form Bisky against Hisoka. Then I'll be covering, of course, base form and adult form Bisky against Manga Hisoka, and I'll be covering them on different bases. I'll be covering them as they are now in the series if they were to fight, because at the moment we know that Bisky is aware of Hisoka's bungee gum ability, and Hisoka isn't aware of, Bisky's adult form and her Nen abilities. So I'll be covering that scenario. I'll be covering the scenario that none of them know their abilities at all, and I'll also be covering the fact that both of them know both their abilities really well. So I'll do 3 different scenarios for all those comparisons. And at the end, I'll round up everything and, I'll have a final, score and a final winner and victor. And of course, for the anime onlys, I'll put a timestamp when I tell you guys to get off so you can go back and see who ended up winning. So yes, let's just get into it. So the most interesting thing about this matchup is they are both transmuters. Now, we see even in the real world of combat sports, southpaw against southpaw, people which have the same type of abilities are always trying to impose it against each other. We know that transmuters and Nen in general really refers to someone's personality, so this is as much going to be a battle of strength as it is a battle of wit and strategy. So when we look at base form Bisky, in a scenario that we've got base form Bisky who doesn't know Hisoka's abilities, and Hisoka who doesn't know base form Bisky's abilities, I'd say the winner's pretty clear cut. As we know, Bisky in her base form, she is strong, but she is nowhere near as strong as she is in her adult form. In fact, she struggled with one of the 3 bombers in Greed Islands, and this showed in the fact that she was taking damage and she felt the need to go to her adult form. So that's pretty easy to scale. We can scale, do we think that bomber is stronger than Hisoka? And really, as we saw from the performance of the other bomber against, of course, Killua, and as we saw in Genfu against Gon, where I'd say that in Greed Island, both Killua and Gon scale below Hisoka, I'd say it's pretty clear cut that Hisoka's the winner. So this first round goes to Hisoka. Now, let's just say it's a scenario where base form Bisky knows about, of course, Hisoka's bungee gum ability. It's a bit more competitive as she'll be more weary of his ability and she'll be more, fighting long range. But I think even in the battle of endurance, Hisoka would end up getting to her. We saw in Hisoka's fight against Gon that he can really pace himself in a fight. We also saw that in his fight against Castro, and with something us manga readers know about. So that shows us that in a battle of endurance and a battle of wit and strategy, Hisoka is ready and he won't waver and make mistakes. He's someone who's got an extremely high level of patience. We saw that of how long he's been waiting for Gon to become strong enough to fight, but how he's been chasing Crollo around. So I think that eventually Hisoka will win this fight. So that's the second round that goes to Hisoka. Now in the scenario that base Bisky knows about Hisoka's abilities and Hisoka knows about base Bisky's abilities, I think it's the same. I think Hisoka wins. I think with some semi-difficulty, but pretty handily. So I've got to say in base form, there's no chance under any circumstances that Bisky can beat Hisoka. Where it gets extremely interesting is adult Bisky. In a scenario where adult Bisky and Hisoka don't know about each other's abilities, it is a bloodbath, genuinely. It is one of those fights where it can only end really badly because adult Bisky has extreme strength. I mentioned earlier about one of the bombers, and the one that adult Bisky fought had more damage than Genfu, who took a Jajan Ken to the stomach after being in a brutal battle with Gon. And yeah, adult Bisky to power skate her as an adult form, right? When, of course, Killua was in the dodgeball match, and at that point, Killua was more advanced in Nen than Gon was. Killua in that dodgeball game, if he had a fight to the death with Gon, he would have beat him with great difficulty, but he was by far the better Nen user. And we saw Bisky say that she reached Killua's level in her late 20s. Now, to put this into comparison, she is now in her late 50s. So that's her scaling herself to Killua at the end of Greed Islands 30 years ago. She's someone that's taught Wing. She's an expert in Nen. She's been a Nen user for 5 decades, as she says. And we see that with how she's able to control her aura so easily for numbers, how she's able to levitate in the air using her hands, just how much control she has over her Nen. She's able to one-shot, of course, the man with the scissors without even using Nen. So she's clearly mastered her body to a point where she is the best she can possibly be. Throughout the series, we see Hisoka getting stronger, and she's kind of leveled out, and she's not getting stronger. So just to clarify, because I don't think I did up to this point, we're talking about Hisoka right now at the end of the anime, and Bisky at the end of the anime, just for clarification. So we see that Bisky has extreme strength. She's got her healing ability, of course, and her Hatsu, which is this Nen woman that goes and heals her. And she's got this extreme offensive ability. So she is one absolute monster of a Nen user to beat. Now, when we look at the side of Hisoka, Hisoka too is a monster. Hisoka, whilst he doesn't have the pure strength that adult Bisky has, he is more precise, he's more intelligent, he's more calculated. His ability, Bungee Gum, has an incredible amount of variety. You can use it to bring the environment into play. You can use it to, of course, heal himself as well. You can use it to enhance his body ligaments, as we saw on Greed Islands. But the thing is, right, from all the fights we've seen of Hisoka, in one moment where the manga used people and I know that he's been pushed to the limits, he really doesn't have enough firepower to keep Bisky off him. Because the thing is, right, we see in Hunter x Hunter, of course, in the Chimera Ant arc, just how much aura in Nen matters. Of course, we know about Ko and we know about all these advanced Nen abilities, but the fact is that Meruem couldn't even get hurt badly by Netero, and that's because of the sheer difference in their aura and their strength. So even though someone could be more skilled, pure strength does matter in this series. Now, in this case, Hisoka is facing an uphill battle. Now, I think this will be extremely competitive. Don't get me wrong. I think that Hisoka's Nen abilities have so much variety. Of course, he's got his ability of his cards. He's got his natural kind of magician-esque style. His martial arts, assassin-type techniques. The high intelligence. He's got all these strategies to make him faster. So he'll be way faster than Bisky. We see he's flying around when he's facing Goto. So it's definitely a hard match for adult Bisky, where I think she does take some damage. But in the end, adult Bisky is like the Incredible Hulk. To give you guys a bit of an analogy from this matchup, this is like Iron Man fighting the Hulk. Now, adult Bisky is just way too powerful when they both don't know about the abilities. Because of course, Hisoka is going to be an absolute shock. He's not going to have anything planned for this. Which gets me, this is the first column category for Bisky. But the second one is when how do you like in the series, where Bisky knows about Hisoka's abilities and Hisoka doesn't know about hers. Now this is really difficult because of course she'll be cautious of the bungee gum. Beforehand in the other category, I said that Bisky was going to take some serious damage. Now I'm envisioning that by Hisoka managing to tag her whilst he's getting punched with the bungee gum and then using it to get her into an attack. So the thing is, right, in this scenario, Bisky will be able to pick off Hisoka at range. We see that Bisky is able to use the environment like Hisoka can, and she can enhance things. So she can enhance rocks and put Hisoka on the defensive just from her mastery of the ability she's able to transmute her Nen. She's clearly one of the best transmuters of Nen we've seen in the series so far. So I think here, Bisky wins without taking too much damage. Now in the situation, they both know their abilities. I think this is where Hisoka has the most chance, because Hisoka is an incredibly intelligent person, and he's someone that, when he's backed against a wall, but he's got a general game plan in his mind, he is most dangerous. Now I think this is as close to a 50-50 matchup as you can get, because I think at this point, Hisoka will know that to get to Bisky, he needs to just target one part of the body, and he needs to keep going at it. It almost be like a video game boss or Dark Souls, if you guys know that thing, where you're constantly just, going away at it bit by bit until it collapses. But I think that in this case scenario, there's a few win conditions for Hisoka. I think Hisoka, if he can focus his bungee gum enough and he can get her trapped even for a moment, he can deal a lethal blow. After, of course, she's been, wear and tear. And I think that he can also bring her into an attack. But I think in general, Bisky just has more win conditions. Bisky, of course, she can just overpower Hisoka with sheer aura. Bisky, of course, she can just use the bungee gum against Hisoka. She can let herself be taken into an ability, get hit, heal herself, and use that to get a counter offensive. Now, I would give this category to Bisky. I'd lean towards Bisky. So I'd say Hisoka from the anime at full power against Bisky in the anime at full power. Bisky comes out on top. Now, anime only watchers, this is your time to leave. This is the timestamp to come back to the video. So, for us, the manga only viewers, oh yeah, you know what I know. Everything I've said, throw it out the window. Hisoka is a different monster. But as I said earlier, Bisky is someone that's pretty much peaked as an end user, although she is gradually getting stronger. But if you can imagine it like a stock that's just kind of staying about the same and getting better bit by bit, she is a bit stronger right now in the manga than she was in the anime, so we've got to keep that in mind. However, Hisoka, it's hard to know just how much stronger it is, but we've got some estimates and we've got some reasons to make some educated guesses. Now, to talk about Hisoka now, we must first talk about post-mortem Nen. And the first example we have of this in the series being of Neferpito. Now, adult Gon, who was a danger to Meruem based on just how insanely powerful he was able to body Pito with ease. Pito had no chance. She was getting blitzed. She was getting one-shotted. She got murked. And then in her post-mortem Nen ability, she had enough strength to take adult Gon's arm. And now, even though afterwards Gon did beat her to death again, it shows us that her power increased drastically. It's my estimate that it increased tenfold, at least 10 times. So it shows us that it's very possible that Hisoka now is 10 times stronger. But I don't think it's that plain and simple. And I think there's also the factor at play that his post-mortem Nen wasn't as... The conditions weren't as brutal as, of course, Neferpito's. Because we know with Nen, right, we can sort of work things out based on Togashi's writing. Because Togashi's given us all the ground rules for Nen. He's explained to us conditional Nen, of course, Nen spirits. He's explained everything to us. So we know that Nen that has a resolve, that has a condition, is more powerful. Now, Neferpito's condition of protecting the king no matter what, her seeing that a goat dawn is a threat to the king, that would have amplified her post-mortem Nen drastically. So I think then we can immediately rule out the 10 times strength. But I think it is fair to say that Hisoka is at least 50% stronger. At least. That is the base. That is an underestimate. She is between 50 to 2 times stronger. So now we take that into play and we see the characters in the succession contest on the Black Whale's reaction to Hisoka, and everyone is looking at Hisoka with a sense of fear we've never seen before for Hisoka and out of any character in the series. Of course, we had members of the mafia who were genuinely scared. They were powerful Nen users from the mafia and have said, we've never encountered anything that strong. It reminded me a lot of Nov's reaction to Poof's aura after Poof was enraged and thinking of killing Komugi. He was destroyed, he aged fast, he lost his hair, and of course you've got that example of Welfin who aged rapidly as well. That's the kind of reaction that Hisoka got out of those experienced mafia Nen users. And of course, Hisoka is someone that now, his whole character's flipped. He's had a character change, right? Before he was someone that he would let everyone have everything on their terms. And I took that into play with Bisky, because I took into play that Hisoka wouldn't, play to his advantage. He would sort of play with Bisky's game, which is why I then put when Bisky and Hisoka fought each other, and of course the second category I was talking about, when they both know about their abilities, it's almost a 50-50 fight, just because of how different Hisoka is when he's kind of, playing about compared to when he's serious. So now that we know this, and I've put out all the context, let's just get straight into it. Post-mortem Hisoka dog walks adult Bisky. I think the only win condition for her is just Hisoka getting too excited. Genuinely, Hisoka having too much fun and slipping up. I think this is a battle for him to lose, because Hisoka, it'll be my guess, based on the information we've gotten, he's twice as strong as he was before. So in this circumstance that adult Bisky faces post-mortem Nen Hisoka, and they both don't know about each other's abilities, Hisoka wins mid to high difficulty. In the situation that Bisky knows Hisoka's abilities, but Hisoka doesn't know hers, I'd say that Hisoka wins high difficulty, but low of the high difficulties. It could be difficult, but he wouldn't have any fatal injuries. And in the situation that they both know each other's abilities, Hisoka takes her out fairly easily. And I say this because Hisoka is someone that's so smart. If he knows he's stronger than you, he goes all out. We see with, of course, Kortupi and of course Shalnok that he killed them both, and how easily he killed them both is that now his personality is different. He's someone that if he thinks he can do something, he'll go for it. Before, he was overly hesitant and overly, I'm just going to see how things go. And now he's almost impatient and he's just willing to go for it. And I think that against Bisky plays against her, because I think that she's someone that in a Nen battle, she wants to be in control. And I think Hisoka's newfound personality will play into his hands. So with that being said, welcome back, anime-only viewers. To give you guys the final conclusion, without spoiling anything, Hisoka, including the manga content, wins. Of course, Hisoka's got the properties of bungee gum and rubber. That's the only thing I'll say. He's a pretty awesome character. I highly recommend reading the manga. It's the current arc, in my opinion, is the best in the series. With that being said, this is the next timestamp to go to, because I'm about to talk about how I got to this conclusion. So yes, back to the manga readers. So guys, with things currently happening, and with Hisoka still being a character that's actively in play, I might need to, make some community notes to let you guys know how the situation's developed, because it's possible that Hisoka is more powerful than I believe he is, and that he's going to get more powerful. But I think I'm very happy with my conclusion. I feel pretty confident that, of course, pre-mortem Hisoka loses to Bisky, and post-mortem Hisoka beats Bisky pretty easily. To me, in my head, that seemed logical. I just needed to, of course, back it up, look at the power scaling from Greed Island, which is the most, accurate source, as that's the arc where they're both involved, and look at their interactions. I felt from body language, from statistics, from power scaling, from logic, from Nen, just from everything overall. Even though I didn't, include all that in, I did have that mentally in my scope of what I was looking at. So I'm very happy in my conclusion. Welcome back, anime viewers. And to conclude this video, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing day. If you've got something you'd want me to cover, anything Hunter x Hunter, I do Hunter x Hunter content every single day. So it's my life. So if you want to subscribe, feel free, and we can be on this journey together. But yeah, if you want to let me know, if you got any suggestions of what you'd want me to do, I take it all in. I do all the videos the comment suggests for me to do, just like this one. And yes, I've got a playlist of all the stuff I've done, from video essays, Hunter x Hunter breakdowns, anime reviews, chapter reviews, everything Hunter x Hunter, it's there. So yes, that was Heijūgon. Peace out.
羽ばたいたら戻らないと言って目指したのは青い青いあの空